Across 34 WrestleManias, there have been exactly 330 matches on the main pay-per-view broadcasts. Some of them have been utterly unforgettable and legendary, you know the ones, and others atrocious and ridiculous, you know the ones. Some WrestleManias have featured between 14 and 16 matches, with a few shorties filling the cracks between the loftier fare. Other Manias featured only 7 or 8 matches, letting the more epic struggles have extra time to breathe. Today's list is going to take a look at some of the really good matches that don't exactly get enough credit. We're talking about the B+ matches, the matches that reside between 3 stars and 3.5 stars on the old subjective grading scale. We've all spent plenty of oxygen blabbing on about the virtues of Michaels vs Undertaker, Hart vs Austin, and Savage vs Steamboat. Now let's talk about some of those forgotten gems. Some of the following entries are just really good matches that have been overlooked for reasons unclear, while others have been overshadowed by a more famous match or matches from the same card. Let's jump around to and fro in the time machine a bit as we unearth some of those old WrestleMania classics. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic.com, and these are 10 WrestleMania matches that sadly get overlooked. Join us! Number 10, Cody Rhodes vs Rey Mysterio. The intro spoke of the opposite ends of the WrestleMania match gamut, the ecstasy and the agony. Undertaker and Triple H's fight into near oblivion certainly represents the ecstasy, while its diametric opposite was that Michael Cole-Jerry Lawler match that is arguably the worst WrestleMania match that surpassed 1 minute. On the shoulders of that Cole-Lawler backwoods atrocity, among some other low points, WrestleMania 27 is seen as one of the weaker manias. The undercard did boast some enjoyable fare, including a Captain America cosplaying Mysterio taking on a pre-elite Rhodes that blended Patrick Bateman, Ted Bundy, and the Phantom of the Opera in one disturbingly vain package. Centered on an angle where a crazed Rhodes believed Mysterio had damaged his good looks, the two blended quality wrestling with some one-upmanship, particularly when Rhodes looked to employ weaponry. The undashing one eked out a win after 12 minutes, earning plenty of vocal love from the die-hard Mania crowd, and the match went a good way in separating Rhodes from his legacy lackey past. Number 9, Junkyard Dog and Tito Santana versus the Funk Brothers. Like WrestleMania 27, the second incarnation of Mania is generally placed on the lower end of the rankings. Outside of the Steel Cage finale, the British Bulldogs winning the tag team belts, and Andre the Giant's Battle Royal win, there isn't all that much else, okay, except for the rather needless 3-time zone setup that stands out historically. And that is a shame, because the match that went on before Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy's closer may have been the match of the night, even edging out the Bulldogs versus the Dream Team. There's a lot to love here. JYD was fantastic, while Santana is an underappreciated wrestling god, and the two were ideal for the classic tag formula. But even their shared greatness pales to 41-year-old Terry Funk bumping with endless vigor, taking hard falls onto concrete and even tables, back when the very idea of ECW was a mere glint in some milkman's eye. This match kicks ass in any era, and in 1986, it's controlled chaos done extremely well. Number 8, Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy. This is what we mean by overshadowed. When I say WrestleMania 25, you salivate and go, ooh, Shawn versus Taker, and you're damn right to do so, because most people would agree that that particular epic belongs in the top 5 WrestleMania matches ever. And it's true, virtually everything else from 25 pales before the mighty Michaels-Taker battle for the ages. But there is one exception. The suddenly wicked Matt Hardy was doing all he could to, erase his brother? Eradicate his brother. Cancel his brother. Surely there's a better word out there. You know, one that accurately sums up the means by which fragmented Matt went all hammer and tongs on his kid brother in an Extreme Rules match. There were Attitude Era style stunts and violence to go along with some subtle human chess on Matt's part, giving WrestleMania 25 the sort of undercard car wreck that keeps it from being merely a one-match show. Number 7, The Rockers versus Haku and the Barbarian. Within a year, Marty Jannetty would be extracting glass from his forehead on the floor of the barbershop, but for now, he and Shawn Michaels were still the same tag team specialists that enthralled crowds, mixing the frenetic athletics of the Young Bucks with the salesmanship and timing of the Revival. Given enough time, the Rockers could steal any show they damn well pleased, though thanks to the Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage's career-ending match, they had to settle for second place on this night in Los Angeles. Haku and the Barbarian were the opponents in WrestleMania 7's opener, but they were more more than just two beefy roadblocks for the Rockers to try to overcome. Both were highly skilled, deceivingly athletic brutes that not only bumped off of the Rockers' most dazzling strikes, but could fire back with punishing offense that looked great. The two duos were natural foils, and with 10+ minutes with which to work, they kicked off WrestleMania 7 with an absolute bang. Number 6, The Undertaker vs. Diesel. It's kinda funny that The Undertaker's best WrestleMania matches didn't begin until he was in his 40s. The battles with Shawn Michaels, Triple H, CM Punk, Edge, and Batista marked a 7-Mania run that began when the dead man was 42. There are a few decent matches pre-Life Begins at 40 for Undertaker, and the one in this entry was probably the first WrestleMania match of his that you could call pretty bloody good. The 5th win in Undertaker's streak came against an outbound Kevin Nash, whose last day with WWE sat 2 months ahead. The pair had issues since the end of 1995, and after each cost each other the WWE Championship at consecutive pay-per-views, the monsters collided at WrestleMania 12. By this time, Undertaker was toning down some of his character's inhumanity, and his more energetic brawling matched up well with a Diesel that was proud to do the honors for a man he respected. It's a very good power-based brawl, even if most people remember 12 more for the Iron Man closer. Number 5, Chris Jericho vs. Christian. Remember when 5-hour WrestleManias were exciting? WrestleMania 20 made the bloated duration work by mixing in some shorter bouts in between the heavier entries, making the night feel like an old-school WrestleMania in some ways. Most memories lie with the now heartbreaking conclusion of Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero standing tall, the excellent matches that each won, Undertaker's grand re-entrance, and The Rock clowning Ric Flair. Jericho and Christian, meanwhile, had an intriguing grudge, and they boosted the show's undercard with some fantastic wrestling. Their feud centered around Jericho's curious puppy dog crush on Trish Stratus, and Christian trying to knock some sense into his lovesick friend. The match itself was as thrilling as it was workmanlike, with Christian even busting out a Texas cloverleaf for the occasion, which I guess would make it an Ontario maple leaf. A controversial finish involving Trish would lead to Trish's shocking heel turn and alignment with Captain Charisma. Overall, this match will remind you just how underrated Christian truly was, and that WrestleMania 20 had more great memories than just the contemporary choices. Number 4, the Steiner brothers versus the Headshrinkers. WrestleMania 9. In a shipment of 34 bags of grain, this would be the one that has the dead mice inside. Between Bret Hart's WWE title reign, Hulk Hogan usurping the spotlight, and Undertaker trying to get something decent out of a glorified Bailey buddy covered in minks, WrestleMania 9 was pretty gosh darn bad. In fact, once you get past the first 2 matches, you're swimming in a septic tank the rest of the way. The opener was Shawn Michaels versus Tatanka for the IC title. The second match was this tag team brawl. When you put the Steiners and Headshrinkers together, you have 4 men who go the extra mile when it comes to jacking someone's jaw, and this match is as violent as you can get without resorting to deathmatch implements. At one juncture, Scott Steiner takes a flapjack over the top rope and appears to just die. In another stunning moment, Rick catches one Headshrinker in a power slam while sitting on the other's shoulders. It's some high concept material, setting a high bar that nothing that followed came close to clearing. Number 3, the Chicago Street Fight. When the dust settled on Bret Hart and Steve Austin's masterpiece of a submission match, it was hard to fathom anything ever topping it. History is even kinder to the match, as not only does the action hold up, but Austin's success in the 6 years after add more gravity to his blood-soaked limp up the aisle. It's a chill moment like nothing before or since, and really, what could follow that? Ahmed Johnson, the Legion of Doom, and the Nation of Domination had their work cut out for them that night, sitting in a rather unenviable position. But all things considered, they delivered what was expected of them and then some. They brawled with no end in sight during 11 minutes of pure anarchy. There's barely a structure and nary a breather as 6 men plus the nation's various underlings just beat the hell out of each other from bell to bell and even after the second bell. The match is a template for the hardcore matches that followed over the years with absolutely no filler. Number 2, The Undertaker vs. Ric Flair. Nothing from WrestleMania 18, not even a pretty good Triple H Chris Jericho main event, was going to be the topic of conversation that the Hulkamania rebirth was. To have watched that main event in the moment was to have been mesmerized by the entire scene, everything else from inside the Sky Dome be damned. Tucked into the undercard was a very good fight with a story to it, and it's an often overlooked bit of WrestleMania lore. First off, the match is historic simply because the win brought Undertaker's WrestleMania total into the double digits, which Undertaker silently acknowledged, thus beating Ty Dillinger to the punch by more than a decade. But the match itself saw an aging Flair fighting a losing battle against a remorseless fiend that tormented his friends and family, all with a smile on his face. Flair almost brings Undertaker to his knees after several valiant comeback attempts, but neither those nor Arn Anderson's wicked spinebuster could slay the resilient monster. It's more than just a bloody battle. The character motivations therein add so much to what could have been just a one-note hardcore match. Number 1, The Ultimate Warrior versus Rick Rude. The Warrior gets a lot of deserved grief for different reasons, and in the realm of wrestling, his work rate takes its fair share of lumps. Others have noted the inspired fare that Warrior has produced with skillful opponents, 3 of which took place at WrestleMania. He and Randy Savage wove a masterful tale at WrestleMania 7, while he and Hulk Hogan created the gold standard for hero versus hero epics the previous year. His IC title match with Rude at WrestleMania 5 may take 3rd place in this trio, but it's nonetheless a great showing. Ravishing Rick may have had his cowardly traits as a character, but as a worker, Rude could sell like crazy, as well as deliver credible offense. His upset victory over Warrior saw him take to the air with a skyscraping missile dropkick before doing all he can to match power with his muscular rival. When reined in and working to tell a story, Warrior was an effective performer, and with a versatile pro like Rude across the ring, they could do so much together. Their rematch at that year's SummerSlam is perhaps even better than their WrestleMania 5 battle, but both are more than worth a look.
Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.